Okay, welcome back. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the product. I just started mixing up a little bit of the colors. And we're going to do the trunk right on here. And I think this will probably be about enough for what we're doing. Maybe just a little more product. And remember, this is the heavy gel gloss. Glossy, glossy. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and now I have several different colors. I used the magenta. The magenta is right here with the phthalo blue and the yellow. Boom, boom, boom in this one. And then I also did the red because I thought, I'd like maybe a little bit of difference inside of the bark. So what I'm going to do, and I kind of like that, like if you take a peek back here, you can see some of the highlights I did afterwards. But like when you look at a tree, it usually is not all the same color. You'll see different tones, you'll see different shades if you really start looking at it. So, now remember, this will usually dry a little bit darker than what you see. So, and if you don't like the color you have, change it. It's kind of like your makeup. If you don't like the makeup that you're wearing, you can always change the shades of it. So figure out what makes you happy, what colors you like, and then kind of go for it. Now, this one has got a lot more green in it. Yeah, I think I did maybe a little more blue and yellow than I did with the red. And this one I definitely put more magenta in, so that's why it kind of gets more of like a rich, warm, purpley kind of brown, which is kind of groovy too. Okay, so there we have these two. I'm going to go ahead and slide my whole palette right up here so I have a little more space to work on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, remember in the last one, we got this little peak here. This plastic is making me working on my allergies. I'm going to go ahead and this time I'm using just a tiny little brush or a tiny little knife. And I'm going to start right up here at the top. And I'm just going to do like a little application. And what I want to do is I kind of want to get my direction. Imagine in one fashion, even going with the curve. And if you look at a palm tree, think about how when they go in and they cut it, even if the palm trees turn, they're kind of cut at a similar angle. So I want to make sure that I kind of get that vibe when I'm doing this. So I'm going to take it just on the tip of the knife and I'm going to go across and I'm just going to do little sections. Now, what I'm also going to think about is where I'm going to go right over the area of the chalk where I drew my outline. Now I'm going to go from left to right. Now when I do this, I'm just taking a little bit on the tip of the spatula, and I kind of like it when you see a little bit coming underneath. Do you see that? Meaning like you can see just a little bit of the blue. Okay. Now if I didn't like it, I could go right over top of it, change the shape of it. Maybe I want it a little bit thicker. Maybe I'm going to change it as I go, like right across here. Now, let's say I decide, you know what, I kind of want to mix in maybe this color just a little. Now is when I really don't mind mixing it up. Now look at how interesting that is. I think it's very interesting. I kind of like it. Actually, I'm going to take a little bit of both of these. Now you see this one has so much more green in it, but it's really pretty. Woo, look at that. Okay. Now, you know what I'm going to show you? Whoops, it looks like I spilled a little bit here. Boom. Now I'm going to show you what this will look like with a couple of the different brushes. Now this, or the, sorry, of the different palette knives. Here is another one. See this one? I showed you this one before. That one's a little bit different. Now, I am going to use this in a different part of it, but I want you to see, you could also do it like this. See how cool that is? And I'm going to do the same thing. That's actually kind of nice too. Now, the other thing, we're going to do 2 rows like this. 2 rows of the bark. Okay. This also almost makes it look like it's coming forward because it's getting bigger. I could also turn it long ways like this. I'm using the tip, the angle like this. I could turn it like that. Like this. Like this. Like this. Maybe I might do it like that towards the bottom, but you can kind of see that. Oops, let me get that right there. See it? Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like the difference here. I'm going to go back to this way because I actually prefer this. Now this is when it's your turn to get creative. You make your marks. You paint the way that you want to paint. I'm just kind of giving you a few ideas on how to do it and giving you permission to go for it. Okay. Now, I like to paint flat. That's just the way that I do it. Right there. I hope you can see this good. Can you see it like that? Is it easier a little bit like that? Oh yeah, this is looking cool. And like I said, this is where you get to decide how you want, how much of what color and what shade, what kind of works for you. This is your deal. And if you don't like it, you are totally welcome to kind of wipe it off and start again. That's one of the really cool things about doing your own piece. Whoops. Sweet. Okay, so we have the general shape that we are working with this base. So be careful and don't touch it because now, yeah, now you could end up making a little bit of a, ooh, don't know if I like that. Okay. Okay, now what I'd like to do is, now that we've kind of got this basic shape going, there you go, right there, all right, what I want to do, I want to move in and do some of the pieces that are coming down, okay? So I am going to use this same palette knife right here with that tip, and I'm going to start going out. So this is how I'm going to show you how to do this when I say I'm going to start going out. I'm going to start doing it just like this. Now remember, you're coming off of the center, so you want to kind of make your line flow. That's, I think, in my opinion, that's one of the most important parts of this, that when the line really works, it's going to come together, because this isn't necessarily the most difficult painting, but you can make it look super cool by having that really nice balance and making that whole, making the line really work. Now remember, you're just giving it a little bit of a base, and this is going to give you permission to do all of the flowers and the petals that are going to be falling from the tree, from this like a moonlight surprise, shall we say. Okay, so I'm going to put this right up here. This bad boy is going to go this way, and maybe I'm going to have one come off of it and go. So this, now what I really like, if you can take a peek back here, I really like when it comes down and then it comes down and it's going back around. It's kind of got this whole flow. That's the part that I think is super cool. So this might kind of be coming out here and kind of coming down. And then doot, 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 doot. Woo! See? Whoopsie. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to bring it back here again. Now I'm going to start on the other side. So now the same thing, I'm going to have this kind of flow a little bit more, because if you notice, that's kind of what happens. Some things go back and then some things go out. So you're going to go boom, 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 boom. You know, it's kind of like a horse's mane, or like just, you know, if you sit outside or you look at a weeping willow, how the branches kind of hang down, and then when the wind hits them and it blows back and forth, it's kind of got a very a soothing feeling to it. That's kind of like what this, what I feel inspired by, like that gives me that idea, like that's what I put inside my head when I'm doing this. It's that whole flowing, like how would it flow if it was actually really moving? This is the time for you to kind of get in touch with your would say your own unique inspiration. Well, that's kind of the place we start coming to. Now, what I also really like at this point is when we have like the little pieces of the branch coming out, and because that's the way they go. You know, if you go and look at a tree, and that's kind of what I like, you look at it, it has the main branches, the big pieces, and then it has all kinds of little ones that kind of come off of it. And those are the ones I think that kind of give it a lot of personality. So remember, your tree has personality. Your tree has a spirit. Everything has a spirit. Oh. The spirit of the tree. Yeah. It's starting to come to life now, isn't it? I kind of need some going on the other side. I like to kind of get it balanced and give it a good foundation, because I don't want to have to go in afterwards. And when I say afterwards, I mean after I start putting all of my beautiful little flowers into it and actually adding more of the branches. It's so much easier if you get it, you know, at this point. Yeah. There we go. Maybe right in here, maybe there's a little bit more, maybe, boom, maybe this is coming out here too. Maybe there's a lot. And if you'll notice on the one that's behind me, you'll notice it's kind of full in here, so you don't have to have the top of it. Like maybe you didn't get that part of it. Maybe as you're looking, you know, through your lens, you finish your tree, you know, way up here off the canvas, and let the imagination of the viewer fill in the rest. So here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Maybe a little more of this one. Maybe this way and this way. Maybe right through here. You see that? Maybe this one goes up and then it comes back down in here. So see it. like see it inside your mind already, and then go ahead and fill it in. Sweet. Maybe a little more in here. Maybe a little more in here. Okay. I'm like kind of happy with that. That's like working for me. Okay. And I think there's probably like enough. Maybe I should do a few more little guys right in here. Boom. Coming out, maybe coming down just a little. Just a little. Just give me a little something to work with. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. I like that. Okay. Now sometimes I need to kind of get back and get a good perspective, but I think that's working. I might even put a little bit more right in here, in the center part, like right in here. Maybe I want to go that way. Keep it tight. There you go. Keep it tiny, tiny strokes. Tiny little brushes with the knife. Okay, so there you go. Whoops. Take a little peek. Okay, now we're going to let this one dry because I want to make sure that the foundation is done before we actually put on all of the beautiful little flowers. So we are going to do another one. We're going to do a little tiny one right here. This is a tiny little canvas that we had. There's a little bit of leftover paint and we kind of filled it in, so I went ahead and drawn right on there. And this one we're going to use a much smaller palette knife. Let's see what we got. That could work. Okay, we'll use this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to start right here at the top of the tree, and I'm going to go across, and I'm going to work the magic that way. I don't believe in wasting paint or product. So what I like to do, oops, let me get this in here, is when I have extra, like let's say I've mixed, you know, and I have a little bit left, and it's like, sometimes you can put it in little plastic containers. I'll show you like this, but they don't really last that long. Hang on. Okay, you can use little plastic containers like this. And you know, they're usually for condiments, but the truth is, if you leave them there for too long, they're not going to work for you. So when I do have paint, sometimes I'll use it to prime and to kind of get another canvas going and use that as the backdrop, and then you can do all kinds of stuff. Oops, I want to use this guy. So. You see that good? This little edge over here. There we go. If you make a mistake, or if you not even a mistake, but maybe something that you just don't like, you are welcome to take a paper towel, wipe it off, and since your canvas should already be dry, you could even put a little bit of water and make sure that you get it all off so you don't leave any color if you'd like it to be very clean. You know, let me just show you something. There's something else that could be kind of interesting here. I could make the tree bark a little bit lighter on this one, just to do something a little different. So when we come back, you'll see what that would be like. So let's just do that. Let's, you know, just for excitement's sake, let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna give it a lighter bark. Now watch. I would just, let's see, we're going to use the same brush. Let's do this. Let's just, right here. Now let's do this one. A little bit left over here too. Let's take some of this. Boom. Now this should be kind of interesting. Mix some of this in here. Now the really cool thing I like about really kind of working with a palette knife, especially when you're doing like a real thick, a real impasto, really mixing as you work. I just think it's really beautiful. You have to kind of commit to it, because once you walk away from it, you can overmix it and you lose like that particular element of it. So when I say it, like, you see how different that changes. There you go. When you're mixing it like this. But the coolness of those additions and that streaking, like, here you go. Let's give a little more in here. Maybe in here. Maybe here. Interesting. So maybe now I want it to be a little more, use a little more of this one over here. Has a little more green in it. Now, what I would suggest, like, let's say the light is coming in on your tree, like over in this section, and it's kind of hitting it from over here. Maybe it comes down in this area. So maybe you would want it to be consistent. Basically, meaning your light source is consistently coming from the same direction. Okay, I need to go over a little bit more, a little bit further, right in here. There you go. Ta-da! Okay, so now what I'm going to do is the exact same thing. And remember, it's the same idea as this first canvas, where we are basically doing the shape and getting the outline. We're doing it in layers, so we're working from back to front, which is the only way that actually I think I know how to do it when you're working with a palette knife. So I'm going to go back to this one, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to get probably a more limited amount of product on here because it's so tiny. And then I'm going to start right here and just start putting it out and following my line and figuring out exactly how I want that flow to go. So, you get an idea. I'm going to go to this one. Okay. I'm going to go to this one. Get a little more brown in here because we're getting kind of light. But who knows, maybe in this one it's like very midday sun. There's a lot going on. Okay. Well, this will be interesting. Okay. There you go. Okay, it's a little thick there, but I'll work with it. So what I like to suggest is letting your painting speak to you. And when I say that, I mean, when you're working, you're kind of tap into a little meditative state. And in that meditative state, you kind of get intuitive hits on how maybe the painting wants to be. So what I suggest is like find that relationship with the art that where it speaks to you and you listen. So you're kind of like letting it come through you, you know. So you have your rough idea of where you want to go, but then you kind of like let it help co-create with you. So, and I kind of do that. Like when you see it, maybe it inspires you. Like maybe you thought you were going to use one color, and then you decide, no, I think I want to use something else. Just go with it. Have fun. That's really what this is about. Okay. Oh, look, he's so cute. Okay. So I think I might just add a few more little things in here, like maybe a little one there. Maybe here. Sorry. If you can see that. Okay. And maybe I want this one, this branch on this side to kind of go down just a little bit more. Whoops, we got a little blue in there. Whoopsie. That's okay. We're just going to work with it. How about that? Yeah. I'm going to go this way because I don't want to hit my bark by accident. Now, if I didn't like that, I could back it up, but I think I'll just cover it. Okay, so here's this little guy. Now we're going to go ahead and let these dry, and then we'll meet you back here, and we're going to continue with our painting. All right, I'll see you in the next section.